Okay. Every day we're seeing more and more evidence of public disenchantment with our political system. And our next guest is somebody, because of that system, who is going to leave the political force. I'm wondering whether he's changed his thoughts about politics over the last couple of years. Please welcome Mr. Ian Macphee. Your second appearance on the show, and I would imagine that things aren't quite as traumatic for you this time around.
No, they're not as tense. I mean, at least things have been decided, Bert, even though I have a view about the decision. It's, my future is settled in that it won't be in politics.
Can you see a light at the end of the tunnel? And if you can, is it the Southern Aurora bearing down on you?
Well, no, I think that's happened. I think, actually, I can see a light in the sense that various people in the private sector want to use my experience and contacts, and I think I'll be able to work out a consultancy in which I'll have several clients, all of whom are interested in the long-term issues facing Australia, and therefore they're the issues that I went into politics to try and grapple with anyway. So in a funny way, I might be as influential in advising Australian companies about their future and public policy questions as I would have been if I'd stayed in politics.
Because at the moment you're from the inside looking out, and very soon you'll be from the outside looking in, I thought it might be worthwhile for you to tell us exactly what you feel the future of politics itself is going to be all about in Australia. I don't mean necessarily the major parties, but what are we going to see happen politically? Is it true, Ian, the old adage that we get what we deserve?
Yes, I think we do. We get what we deserve, and we are not involved. Australians are non-joiners. We don't join political parties. Only a fraction of our population, less than 1%, belongs to the political parties, and yet the pre-selectors are unrepresentative of public opinion, and they choose images of themselves, and those images are not representative of the public. And the problem then is that we say, well, we're not well governed, and we like to distance ourselves. The Americans are usually proud of being involved. They identify, I'm a Republican or I'm a Democrat, but I vote for the other side every now and again, and this kind of thing. They're proud of their politics. We're ashamed of ours. We don't admit to involvement. We like to stand back and say, they are doing this and they are doing that. And we really pass the buck. We don't make the most of our democratic opportunities.
Yeah, there's a feeling in America that that magnificent attitude the Americans had of closing ranks after an election doesn't happen nearly as much now since President Nixon, since he was disgraced and had to leave office. Yep. In Australia, perhaps the feeling could be that if it was growing for us, that sort of attitude, it might have been nipped in the bud as the result of the events of 1975.
I think that's a big factor. I think the Vietnam War was very divisive. The Liberal Party lost a lot of younger supporters, potential supporters, and then the deferral of supply in 1975 lost another almost a generation later, and that's one of the reasons why the Liberal Party has so little support. The Labor Party, of course, is losing support too, and people are disenchanted. They are looking for independence. They're voting informal or not voting at all. So there's a lot of disenchantment, and yet people are still not joining or forming meaningful new political parties. It's not easy to do, but I think we will see in the next decade a realignment of political forces. I do think we will.
Ian, did you consider doing a Don Chip and forming another party?
I considered running as an independent. Had Howard remained the leader of the Liberal Party, and had there not been any other opportunity made open to me, I would have run in Goldstein as an independent. But of course, as you know, immediately following my loss in Goldstein as a pre-selection, Andrew got up, and very decisively, the following week. He then made me Shadow Foreign Minister again, and then they reopened the Deakin nomination, so I stood there, and that was the proper thing to do. And Andrew shaped his front bench so that he brought in a blend of Conservative and Liberal people anyway. So it was a winning team, and I was going to be a major part of it. Then I didn't get Deakin pre-selection for the sort of reasons I've said. The branches are frankly out of touch with the electorate, and on that basis I then had to resign from the front bench, and it would be improper for me, I think, quite improper now, to run as an independent or under any other banner. So I think Andrew has to be given every opportunity to win with the team he's chosen.
Think he can?
I think he can, and he's chosen a good team. They're in front in the polls now. It's a long haul, but when interest rates are running as they are and as they will, it's hard to see Labor winning.
Sure. Ian, can I ask you this? I get a feeling, and I'm sure that it's the feeling of a lot of Australians, and that is there seems to be some sort of dullness about politics now. It could be just a lull before a big storm. I'm not too sure what that storm is going to be, whether it's Labor thrown out of office, whether it's another leadership challenge from one of the main players in either party. But I don't know, it seems to me that the attitude of people toward politicians is at an all-time low.
Yes,
well, and the people obviously to blame for that are the leading players.
Yes, well, people are tired of slogans. They're tired of symbols and gestures and empty words, and they're dissatisfied with performance. I think the 30-second grab on television disappoints them. I think interviewing situations like this and on radio are good. The public gets more information in this way than they ever do on television news, for example, or news on the hour on radio, or just from headlines in newspapers. So I think we need more debate. We're not good at debate in Australia, and I think you're going to see more and more grassroots debate, more scrutiny of local candidates. We've seen it in Tasmania, we'll see it elsewhere. There'll be more independent candidates and they'll get votes. In the end, they'll go back to the major parties, but they'll protest on the way.
Interesting word you've used there, scrutiny. One of our leading broadcasters, a broadcaster journalist in Melbourne, a former editor of the Herald, and now a very successful radio broadcaster and a fine journalist, man with a lot of credentials. I set that up because he's not a guy who's just fallen into a job and all of a sudden wants to make a name for himself. But a couple of days ago, he asked the question of Neil Blewett about his sexual preferences. Now, you use the word scrutiny. Just how much do you believe a public figure in politics should be scrutinised by the media, particularly?
I think very strongly they should only be scrutinised in relation to the way they do their job. Now, if some aspect of their private life intrudes, if they take bribes, then obviously they're untrustworthy and should not be doing the job, and every journalist should probe that. If they are alcoholic and can't do the job, the same. If they're a compulsive gambler and become indebted and therefore susceptible to bribery, that's a problem and that should be investigated. If, as in the case of Profumo, they're sleeping with someone who's sleeping with a Soviet spy and you're Minister for War, that's a serious problem because you could pass intelligence information. But if you're Minister for Health, I can't see that your sexual preference is relevant to doing the job. Now, Mitchell, I agree with you. He agonised over it and he asked a sensible question because he thought it was relevant to the way the AIDS policy may have got off course. I don't happen to think the AIDS policy has got off course, and the person whom he quoted, Sir Gustav Nossel, wouldn't have thought it had anything to do with the Minister's sexual preference if it has got off course. It's for, how is the AIDS policy being administered? Let's examine that. But I can't imagine in a million years that the Minister's sexuality has anything to do with the policy or its administration.
Fair enough. Ian, good luck in the future. Thanks for coming back to visit us today. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. Just before you go, one final question. Your sexual preference?
Well, I must confess, like you, I'm very old-fashioned.
Good on you. Nice to see you.
Good on you, Bert. Thanks very much.
Ian Macphee, stay there. And after this break, it's to Hollywood, and Miss Eva Gabor is going to join us.